Hey everybody, and welcome to Attempts at Governance episode 175. Oh my god, we are getting closer to episode 200, and it's been a wonderful journey that we're going to continue here live on the show today. We got a jam-packed panel here with us. Funky, how you doing?
I am great, sir.
Nice to have you here. Limo, how you hanging, buddy?
Living the dream.
Very nice. We have Natty on the show. Natty, this is your first time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here and a member of your team. Looks like we have Andrew Stallings back in the building, the boys from Mandala, and many other familiar faces. We're going to get rolling straight now with the state of the Treasury. Oh, hold on. I have to let everybody in who decided to come after the show starts. Hold on. Welcome, everybody. Come on over. No point in being on time. All right, here we go. We're going to go right into the state of the Treasury here. Looking really good this week. We are up on all accounts. For Polkadot, the DOT token, we're up 40,178 from this time last week. That's across the main Treasury, the Asset Hub Treasury, and the DOT sitting on hydration, DCAing into stablecoins. That brings the DOT holdings to 20,728,794 DOT. USDC Treasury, that's up 435,000 to 1,171,768. And then the USDT Treasury still looking really good, also up 434,998. That brings that Treasury to 5,783,588 USDT. That's the state of the Treasury, and I'll now throw it over to Funky for the state of the Funk.
Thanks so much, Jay. The state of the funk is admittedly fantastic with a
No
P8.
way. Whoa.
Because I got to tell you, life without internet is a struggle in 2024. We lost power for only 2 days because of the storm, but then for some reason, our ISP effectively couldn't get the internet back up. We only got it yesterday, so just to be able to do things on the computer again and actually have Wi-Fi service and everything else is kind of crazy. So just happy to be here on AAG. Looking forward to today's show as always, and let's get it going.
Hell yeah. Thanks very much, Funky. Nice to have you back online. We're now going to throw it to Limo for a referenda gone by.
Bullish that Funky's got his internet back.
Hell yeah.
It's the biggest news all week. Okay, so we've got 7 refs gone by this week. The first one is by Mr. Donald Murray of the Fellowship on the whitelisted collar track, ref 1202, and this is quite a big one. This was approved, and it upgrades Polkadot to version 1.3.3, which includes making the inflation formula adjustable. We'll see who actually goes to adjust that in the future.
Right.
Fixes some issues with the call time migration, allows signed origins to send arbitrary XCMs from the Relay Chain, Asset Hub, and People's Chain, and allows Polkadot, Kusama, and Ethereum assets to cross the Polkadot and Kusama bridge. And I know there's a few parachain teams looking forward to using that, so pretty big update there.
Killer.
Then we've got a bunch of head ambassador drama right now. The first one is by Georgie on the Fellowship admin track, ref 1189. This was approved, and it demoted Don Diego Sanchez from being a head ambassador.
Ooh.
The first actual real person to be demoted. And then we've got another one by Georgie, ref 1197. Now, this was approved, but seemingly didn't execute properly on the collected chain due to XCM weight problems, and it was to remove all 20 head ambassadors, but it didn't work. So we'll see
Crazy.
what happens there. Then we've got a ref canceller from Giotto, ref 1214. This was rejected, and it was to cancel ref 1195, which is the referendum to remove all the ambassadors and remove the ambassador collective. He has since then posted another ref canceller that's exactly the same. And then on better news, we've got one from Amfork on the medium spender track, ref 1169. This was approved, and it is showcasing Polkadot's capabilities, the spamming. So we're looking forward to seeing all of that come to fruition pretty soon, hopefully.
Beauty.
Then we've got Luna Strategy on the medium spender track, ref 1163. This was rejected, and it was for $75,000 of dead tokens, because remember that the Treasury does have dead tokens that were going to be used for social media marketing, but seemingly DOT token holders don't want to spend dead tokens. And then finally, we've got one from William on the big tipper track, ref 1211. This was rejected, and it was a 500 dot tip for Lily for Hairwear creating informational documents about bounties. And that is refs gone by.
Thank you very much, Limo. Lots of juice there. Obviously, we're going to get deeper into the head ambassador stuff later in the show. We have Mario on the show to talk about some of his ideas. Don Diego Sanchez is here to give an update as well. And we'll fill everybody in more on the drama or the progress or lack thereof of the head ambassador program on chain. You did say this proposal by Shadanda, by Donald Murray here, which allows us to adjust the inflation formula. And this is actually huge because the DAO has also approved a wish for change to, first of all, reduce the inflation down to 8% of the current amount. So right now we have about 1.5 billion DOT tokens in circulation. We're going to reduce inflation to 8% of that amount every year, which is, what is that? 120 million new DOT tokens are going to be produced every year. But the other key thing about this, and this is very important to remember, is that, wait a second. 1 second. Hold on, we got to do a little bit of math here, everybody. 1.5 billion. Everybody get out their calculators. 1,500. That's 1.5 billion times 0.08. Okay. Yeah. So we're on the right track here. 120 million new DOT tokens to be issued next year-ish. About. Limo, you want to get me there on something?
No, I was going to say, and remember the wish for change that was approved, ref 1139.
Yeah.
It's 8% the first year, and then it does decrease over time.
Well, I think the percentage doesn't decrease, but because it's 8% of this current issuance, it's going to relatively decrease from the amount of tokens in circulation. Does that make sense? No? So look, if you have 8% of 1.5 billion, that's, what did I say? 120 million, right? But it's going to be 120 million every year. But the total issuance is going to keep growing, so the percentage of the total issuance is going to go down.
And it's important to remember that we can adjust this as well with another wish for change or another referendum to adjust it, right?
Indeed. And there's, in fact, one out there right now.
And
Right.
there is 15% of that inflation to the Treasury as well, like a fixed Treasury income instead of it being based on like the ideal staking rate.
So this is what I wanted to get to, and thank you for bringing it up. This means that once this finally gets put on chain, if it's able to get all the way there, we're going to be having an inflow to the Treasury of 1.5 million DOT tokens per month. 1.5 million DOT tokens per month is now going to be income to the Treasury. This is beautiful stuff. And I did want to take a quick moment today to acknowledge kind of where OpenGov has been for the past year, because we are approaching the 1 year period where Giotto came upon the scene and basically opened up the Treasury purse strings. And, well, we kind of went a little overboard. I think we experienced the results of really spreading out funding, really just on anything there was definitely a lot of waste, a lot of failed proposals, and we all kind of experienced the pain of spending too much and just spending too willy-nilly and too far. But I also wanted to point out that recently, in the last few months, we've kind of been going the opposite way. So we've experienced the pain of spreading too thin, but we are now at risk of experiencing the pain of being too closed off and not really pushing forward enough. I'm seeing a lot of back chat rooms that are focused on, well, things that really don't have anything to do with pushing Polkadot forward. Kind of some, well, I feel like the DAO is kind of getting a little soft, a little wimpy. It's not really interested in taking risk and pushing itself forward anymore. And I had this this post today that I want to encourage people to think about is this singular mission for the DAO. And I really think this is a filter for all spend proposals, a singular mission for the DAO of increasing transactions on Polkadot rollups month over month. We need this chart that I'm putting on screen right now. We need this chart to go up and to the right every month. And you can apply this filter to any spend proposal. All you have to do is ask yourself, does this proposal increase transactions on the Polkadot rollups? If it does, if the answer is yes, then you have to ask yourself over what time frame. And now maybe it'll be over 10 years, or maybe it'll be over 10 months, but some that falls somewhere on that spectrum. And once you establish what the time frame is of increasing transactions on the Polkadot network, you can ask yourself if the money's worth the risk. And if you determine that it's worth the risk, then all you have to do is ask, will this team deliver? And if they can deliver, we have to get it through. It is vital that Polkadot increases transactions on the network. It's vital for the economics of DOT. We need more data being processed by Polkadot if we want DOT to be a sustainable token. And we need to push this forward. We cannot lay down and die while our competition with centralized foundations is pumping out money to attract more transactions to their network. Just because we're at a disadvantage to those centralized organizations doesn't mean we should just lay down and let them beat us over the head. Limo, what do you think?
Damn, that was some speech, Jay. Yeah, I agree, but we also need to remain cautious isn't the word, but people with quite big claims, like this is going to bring 750,000 people or something, we need to remain semi-realistic as well and not just take people for their word on how many users it'll bring, and remain realistic on the actual outcomes that we think spends will have.
Indeed, we have to remain realistic, but we have to lean in. We have to lean in and actually assess proposals on an individual basis. We can't just make up random rules about eyeing proposals and just lazily aye or nay. We actually have to assess these proposals and see if they have potential. If they have potential, then we need to align them with the DAO and get them through. We can't let our competition beat us here. We're at an advantage long term. We're more resilient than our competition, but short term, we're going to get clobbered if we just sit back and be fucking lazy. We have to lean in. That's my fucking speech. I'm a little charged up. Let's get going right now with the first. We don't have a proposal. We actually have an update from the events bounty. Mr. Lowell McShiz, welcome to the show. You wanted to give us a little update on the last quarter of work with the events bounty.
Hey guys, thanks for having us on. Silo, can you share the press, please?
Yeah, I'm on it. Just give me a second.
So we're going to keep this super succinct, all right? I know how really annoying it is when people babble for ages, so
Sorry.
as soon as we have the slides, we'll
For some reason, I can't share.
Yeah.
The button is coming up.
Let me see. It looks like you have permission to share.
Let me see what's going on.
While we figure that out, let me just carry on a little bit here. We need to put the... No, I'm just kidding.
I might have to rejoin because the share button is still grayed out for me. So sorry about that.
That's okay. Why don't we throw it to the Talisman proposal now? We'll restart the clock here. We have Warp, Lizard, and Natty on the show. And you guys wanted to talk to us about this proposal, the Talisman wallet and portal retroactive funding, 690.6 thousand USDT. Love Talisman, use it every day. Guys, welcome to the show. What's going on?
Hey Jay, thank you very much. Thanks for having us. And thanks everyone for considering our proposal. So I guess, yeah, we have a retroactive proposal. You would have seen it. I do have a quick deck to go through if that's okay. We might start with just a very brief introduction first. For myself, most people don't know me. I think probably a lot more people know Natty already, but I've been kind of in the trenches. So my name is Walt Blizzard. I've been with Talisman since we started about 3 years ago. I was the lead developer on the Talisman extension. I then became head of engineering at Talisman, and recently we had a change of leadership. So a lot of people would know our previous CEO, Agile, who's now stepped down, and myself and another member of the team who's been there since the beginning, Nobite. We've both become the co-CEOs. So we're now taking the lead at Talisman. Yeah, I just wanted to sort of put that out there so people know who I am. And now we can talk about the proposal, or unless Natty wants to introduce herself.
Yeah, I think most of you know me and remember me as a Polkadot babe. Today I'm just a babe, but yeah, thank you for having us. It's our first time, so please bear with us. We don't know how usually things working, but we're ready to happy all your answers and explain why we're doing this, and just happy to be here and be involved more in Polkadot.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll share this this deck. So this is part of the proposal. You can get this link from the proposal itself, and I'll go through this very briefly. Don't want to take up too much of your time. The start of it is just introductory. I think probably most people know who Talisman is. I won't focus on this. Just briefly, we have three main products: the portal, which is a web application, the Talisman wallet extension, which is an extension, and third is the Signet, which is the multi-sig product. Just so everyone knows, we're not asking for any funding for Signet in this proposal. We're focused only on the portal and the wallet. I'll skip through this intro stuff. Some metrics. Briefly pause here on support. It's a little bit difficult to quantify, and we haven't really included any funding like requests directly in the proposal, but I think that it's quite important for us to emphasize the work that we do in support for the Polkadot ecosystem. You'll see that in our Chrome reviews on the Chrome store, a lot of the reviewers mention our support, and that's because we really go out of our way to support people not only on like Talisman itself and our products, but in the Polkadot ecosystem. So like a lot of the support requests that we get are to do with Polkadot ecosystem issues like existential deposit and address formats that we provide people a lot of help with. So that's kind of a service that we provide that's quite difficult for us to like specifically quantify in the funds that we're requesting from the Treasury, but it's important to put it out there. This is Explore the Paraverse, which is like a series of AMAs that we did for a while, and some tutorials. So just like focusing on sort of things that we do in Polkadot, which aren't necessarily like tech product that we produce. Quests as well, I'll mention. It's a co-marketing reward site for points. You can guess where that's going. We're not asking for any funding for this, but just to highlight as an important thing that we're doing, a lot of our focus for Quest has been on bringing users from outside the Polkadot ecosystem into Polkadot. Some nice testimonials from our users. I like this one in the middle here.
Oh, it's so true.
A little breakdown of our team. We have about 11 core staff members currently. And now we'll get into the important stuff related to the proposal itself. So these are the main features that we have produced in that time, and that we are asking for support of the Polkadot Treasury to fund. So one of the big ones was generic ledger support. So we were quite important in developing not only our own implementation of that, but also the protocol itself, the standard itself. We played a big role in working with Parity and Zondax teams to develop that. Secondly, some advanced ledger features. These are sort of more minor, but like icing on the cake for Ledger. Substrate developer mode as well, quite minor at this stage. It might grow in the future, but something that was requested by a lot of devs in the Polkadot ecosystem. Signet and Polkadot account import. So this is kind of a tie-in for Signet. It was something that was requested as well by a lot of sort of larger teams. Cross-chain swaps. So this is something that we've been working on to start to be able to monetize Talisman. We have now integrated 3 providers on the portal. So we have quite an advanced cross-chain swap capability, bringing lots of funds from the Ethereum ecosystem into Polkadot. In-wallet staking, so major improvement to the wallet. Focus currently on nomination pool staking. Manifest version 3, this was a requirement for all extensions in the Chrome store. So it's kind of something that we had to do. We didn't really want to do it, but it did involve some big architectural changes to the way that the application runs. Foreign asset support. So we support foreign assets, which enables display of assets from bridges, Polkadot. And these are quite a few smaller things that are included in the work that we're asking for funding for. That we're also, like, some of them are small features, some of them are kind of more like maintenance, things that we have to keep up with the Polkadot ecosystem. So the proposal itself, it covers 48 weeks of developments, and we are asking for $690,600 in USDT on Asset Hub. You can see the full breakdown of all of that in the proposal, the full document, which is linked from the PokeAssembly site. Some small points, retroactive means features that are already delivered. So we're requesting funding on stuff that we've actually done, and we don't request funding for time the team has spent outside of features. So this is really just development work. We have the lowest treasury spend out of all of the Polkadot wallets, and we are currently monetizing to make ourselves cash flow positive. All right, I'll pull it up there because I'm seeing that for an out of time, but that deck is available for you to see if you like on the proposal.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, guys. That brings us to time there. Good stuff. All right, let's use our reaction button in the bottom of the screen there, panel members, and let's just ask simple questions. Do we think this proposal will increase number of transactions on the network if we were to fund it? Aye or nay? Okay. 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 And do we think this team can deliver on this? I guess they already have.
It's retroactive.
Retroactive. Okay, interesting. Could be debated more in the comments or more on the forums. But guys, thanks very much for coming to the show. Lee, you wanted to jump in there.
Really simple question.
Would love it.
When is Talisman going to be available again on Firefox?
Ooh.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm hoping early next week, but there is some delays with the Firefox review team. It's really hard to get them to follow through.
They sound like the Apple review team.
Kind of, yeah.
Firefox used to be so solid. Robert?
Just a question about the monetization streams that you've mentioned. How big are those now? Do you see that within the near future they could carry the team going forward?
Yeah, we run a validator. We're going to start running additional validators as well in Polkadot and in some of the other chains. and we have swaps, which we're monetizing. The swaps are growing quite quickly. We also have some other options for monetization, which we haven't done yet, like on and off ramps, which we'll be working on soon. And we are hoping to break even within the next year.
Okay, guys, thanks very much. So, because this is retroactive, if you do see any of the work already done that you think hasn't contributed to transactions up and to the right, do let them know in the chat so they can cut the fat. But goddamn, I love Talisman. Thank you guys for coming on the show. And we're gonna throw a banger event in Toronto on Friday. It's gonna be the biggest mass voting event in the history of Polkadot, and it's gonna be awesome. We're now gonna throw it over to Mr. Lol McShiz and Xylo, who have an update on the on the events bounty. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank
Hello.
you.
Take two. Let's try again.
Let's do it.
With you're aware of previous stuff that went on with Events Bounty, so we've now been live for a whole quarter, and we committed to quarterly reporting. So we're about to drop our report on the forum, but we thought we'd just give you guys a very quick summary of what we've been doing. So there are currently just over 830,000 DOT remaining in the bounty, after an initial amount added in on the last top up of 1 million, which means that we have in total in Q3 spent 206,139 DOT. Now this is about $1 million worth at time of funding those proposals, of which about 40% was actually for the token 49 presence by Distractive, which we're actually waiting for the final report on. So that cost could still come down. So basically the process is we agree an amount, we fund that amount, they off ramp, go through the whole process of running the event, etc. And then they wrap it all up a month afterwards with a report and return any unspent funds. So we have a master spreadsheet which manages all that. And you can see that. Operational costs, we have a budget of $45,000 per month. We're currently so far only spent 28,000 per month as we're sort of ramping up. We didn't want to immediately start bringing in sub-curators to the left, right, and center for the sake of it. We wanted to sort of build up the activities, achieve the things that we said we would, and slowly ramp that up over time. Another interesting thing, which I think is quite important as to why things should go through the events bounty, we have so far saved the treasury $312,000 on proposals that have been approved through the events bounty versus their initial proposal. So typically on OpenGov, it's either a yes or a no. With the events bounty and other bounties, you have the opportunity to say, well, yes, this in premise makes sense, but holy shit, that's too much to spend there. No, we don't want to spend that, etc., etc. So that active role we've played there has actually saved more than the overheads of the bounty itself thus far. Here's just some few images of some of the events that we have funded so far. Korea Blockchain Week, Behind the Chain in London, Token 24/9 Singapore, FutureCom, that's one in Brazil. And yeah, there's lots more you can view through.
Okay, and I guess I can take it from here. So one of the things we've been actively working on is an RFP calendar or a request for proposals. So we have highlighted all of the important events for next year where we think that Polkadot should have a presence.
Nice.
And we want to encourage proponents to apply to the events on the spreadsheet rather than suggesting their own events. However, they can reach out to us, and if they think that we've missed some kind of event, please send it to us by email, and we'll gladly add it. 1 second. So we've also launched a Twitter account. You can see some statistics, and all of our regular updates will be shown here, or any kind of new initiatives. We have also launched the Roots Initiative, which is meant to be a series of meetups in crypto hotspots. We open applications for this series in waves, and we have currently a sub-curator that is helping us manage the series, which is Lou. You might know her from Polkadot or like the Meetups bounty. We have also approved Miami as a location, which is led by James, and South Nigeria, which will be led by Becca, and there are some other proponents that we're setting up interviews with. Currently, applications are closed, but we will let you know when the next round opens. We have launched a new events bounty website where you can find all of the information on how to apply to a proposal, how to report, where to find templates, and any kind of relevant information. Our current curator overview, the 7 standard curators, as you might know from before. As mentioned, we've engaged with Lou. We are also engaging with Lucy to help manage an active calendar. That is the calendar for events which have been funded and are taking place. We have also had conversations with Stern Bergman, which you may know, who we've asked to try and contact the Luma team to see if there could be some kind of possible integration. No luck on that front yet, but we also want to see if we can find ourselves in events negotiator for sponsorship packages in the future. We have also instated usual office calls once a week where anybody from the community can drop by and ask any kind of relevant questions to the events bounty. So we have also done some updates and are changing some of the things internally based on some of the things we learned. So some proponents did not adhere to the design guidelines. So we are now asking for reviews, and of course, destructive helps with the assets. As mentioned, we are looking into hiring a single person to negotiate sponsorship packages, because one of the things we have seen often come to us is that the majority of proponents just want the highest package without necessary clarifications. And obviously that becomes then a bit hard on the wallet, which we are not super fans of. Because there were so many events happening in Asia, we think that the speaker allocation could have been managed a bit better. So we want to be a bit more proactive when it comes to speakers. And now that we've outlined our calendar, we will talk to ecosystem agents to see where to position whom and to suggest who could go where. And additionally, we are kind of open to Trojan horsing Polkadot into projects. So for example, recently we have funded Hyperbridge to go to Aggregation Summit, and they are doing a really interesting workshop, of course, about Hyperbridge, but Polkadot as well, which is kind of like a debate format, and we think that could be pretty good. And yeah, the objectives for the future to come will be, as mentioned, secure a presence at all major events in Q1, coordinate speakers, and be more proactive about coordinating BD as well. So the same way that we want to approach speakers, we want to approach business development, and we're creating internal lists of potential candidates which could be sent to these places. We will be making a resource center with things like design templates, any kind of relevant links, presentation templates and tips to help proponents organize their event. We want to focus on the Root series and see if we can increase the number of meetups that are decentralized and happening around the world. We haven't yet launched a funding template for software development for events.
Ooh.
But we're looking forward. I'm sorry if that was my phone. But we're looking forward to maybe having a bit of a mention about this at Sub-Zero. And there was something in our initial proposal, which was called Fishermen, aka individuals, which were meant to be anonymously selected that go to these events, which were meant to inspect the event. We have not launched this yet, and we're still debating whether we should go live with this, and if so, then when.
All right. So we're at time there, Xylo and Ben. That was a really banging update there. I love the request for proposals with the event calendar. That's amazing.
Thank you.
And where can people find that?
So it's on the website, in navigation under RFPs.
What's the URL?
.events.xyz.
Okay, I'm gonna put that
New
in the chat.
website as well.
Looks nice. Somebody talented had a hand in designing this. Yeah, Lee.
Just a really quick one. I would try and talk to the Perk Assembly team to modify the events bounty page with all of this kind of information, right?
Hmm.
Mhm. yeah, I'll add it to the list. Thank you.
Nice. Just real quick before we move on, I don't know, Ben, if you potentially maybe had some words on why events contribute to transactions going up and to the right.
Because more presence events means Polkadot's more in the conversation, and people realize that there's a lot going on here. They understand that the shallow BS you see on CT is not accurate, and they want to come and build here. So they build products, and then people use them and make transactions.
And also, I think they're a good opportunity to expand into areas where, you know, we don't necessarily have reach, or like something that people usually neglect is collaborations and business development that can be done around these events.
I love it. BD is one of the most important things we can do for getting transactions up and to the right. And very compelling argument, guys. Thank you very much for being on the show and for making good of this bounty. I think it's
Thank you.
on track to be a major success. Robert.
Just wanted to ask about the fishermen again, because we have other fishermen in like Polkadot. So are they mostly for information gathering or like proselytizing? Yeah.
So they would basically just let us know how the event actually went.
Ah, okay.
Because, you know, somebody can say in the report, this was great, and it just wasn't.
There's like mystery shoppers.
Oh,
Yeah.
They go in and, oh, wow, yeah, thank you. These are lovely canapes. Shit canapes, gross.
All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
It's like Jay. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay, let's move on here. We are going to hear from the good people of Mandala Chain because I know it's very late on the other side of the planet. It's very nice of them to be here. 763,000 USDT to build out 4 use cases demanded by various aspects of the Indonesian government. Guys, welcome back to the show. How's your first week of OpenGov been? What's going on?
It's been good. We've had some really great conversation. We've seen that the turnout has been pretty even so far. I know our numbers don't look it so far, but there was only really one vote that threw some chaos into the numbers. That sort of skewed it, but otherwise it's been fairly even. We've had like some really good chat. I know on the Kustau especially.
Yeah.
And I think one of the main questions that I guess people have been sort of curious about is like, what does the final form product look like? And like, how soon can we get there? And are we even capable of building a final form product? And I think it misses the mark a little bit. Just so essentially, you know, this is a result of a 2-year BD effort to be able to onboard like a government and for them to be willing to say, yes, can we join an ecosystem? Not just can we use a blockchain, but can we join an ecosystem that we're telling them that they should join? And so the fact that we've been able to convince them to get to this point, and not only that, they're actively now promoting it to their communities. Like, we didn't choose to come and build this in Polkadot for the users. That's not why we came here. We came here because this was the best tech stack, and we will put our hand up straight away and say, we're not, you know, developing any sort of proprietary tech here. We're not creating something new. That's why we came to Polkadot, because Polkadot already had it. And so we do feel like we bring a use case and users. And I know that we've funded a lot of things inside the ecosystem from just a marketing perspective to try and get opportunities like the one that we're bringing. And we also fund a lot of tech, open source tech, with the idea that somebody will eventually use it. We've got a use case and we've got a user. And so this is the whole premise of coming here. And we do feel like this is something that the ecosystem needs. We mentioned it last week that, you know, we hadn't really mentioned or marketed at all. But as far as our event bounty that came through, we had 3 months prep put on the Bali Blockchain Summit, and we had more attendees than Polkadot Decoded did. And so we do feel like this is something the ecosystem needs. Like, I obviously run a separate business where I'm a KOL as well, and we get active feedback in real time. And like, I'm pink pilled as hard as you can possibly be. I've got my hat on, my Polkadot pink hat, actively trying to build my project inside the Polkadot ecosystem. But I can tell you, I think we overemphasize our relevance in the broader blockchain community quite significantly. And I get real data feed time back on that as well when we produce Polkadot content and its engagement versus not. And so we're really sort of going to ram Polkadot down the community's throat, essentially, because this is the best place that they need to be. And so we do feel like it's a net benefit to the ecosystem. And so yeah, we're pretty bullish on still where this will go, and we'll wait until see some more conversations and some DVs and see how we go.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, do we want to hear from anyone else on the team, or should we open it up to some discussions and questions here? What are some lingering thoughts or concerns on this proposal from people on the panel or in the chat? Mario.
Well, I think that first of all, it's impressive what Mandela is doing. It's I think most people don't understand how stressful it is to talk with a government, and that they actually say, "Well, okay, let's do this." And I think this needs to be seen by the entire community here, that this is not something like I walk into the governmental office last month and today they sign. That is not the case. I'm working also with governmental organizations. It takes a year minimum before they actually realize what the benefit is. And especially, we are talking here about a public blockchain, right? That is not so common that they say yes to that. So I think people that slightly believe in this, let's vote for a yes here, because we need to give this a chance. This could be a big differentiator for Polkadot in general, not only if we do this in the Indonesian governments, but you know, what an impressive thing could it be if we go to France or to Belgium, where I live, or anywhere else, and we say, okay, you want to do something in for a governmental organization in blockchain? We already did this. We have 10,000s of people already on the system. That would be brilliant. So only for that, I would say, yeah, let's take the jump and let's do this and let's make a difference.
I agree on all points except tens of thousands of people sounds a little low.
Yeah, I agree. You can shoot me for that, Jay.
Oh, you know, I'm out for blood today. Yeah, I totally agree. I think, and because we took the Coos there and heavily vetted the team and also interviewed Michael, we know that there are 4 other governments that are interested already, actually, in using this tech stack. Thank you,
One
Mario.
of them's about to sign too, Jay. We'll announce it very
Fuck
soon.
off. Come on. Look, I wake up every day. I have been waking up every day for 3.5 years, pouring all my time into building up Polkadot. I want to crush my enemies, and I want to use Mandala to do it. I want Mandala to be part of that crushing. Look at this chart. Look at this chart. Up and to the right. Okay. What if we just onboarded just 1 million people from Indonesia's 270 million population? Come on, let's stop fucking around, everybody. Okay, sorry. Anybody else have something to say? I've seen some people voting on principle because you guys have a token. You guys should go find a VC. But I will say that it's an interesting point. But I have been asking around for any examples of VCs investing in emerging market infrastructure, and I haven't been able to find any examples. I also had a meeting with somebody who works in the ecosystem. Their whole job is to understand the VC space and how it intersects with Polkadot projects. They also had no answers or examples of VCs who are extremely interested in funding developing country infrastructure with blockchain. So I would just say that I've been running down that FUD point. Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like, what the alternative is, like, where do you come and tell a government to build their application? Like, it's like, okay, we're going to build you something and we're going to put it on
Hyperledger.
You know, yeah, exactly. And so we thought about this extensively for a long period of time to create an ecosystem where they could plug into, where they can keep the permissions that they need, but they're still part of a public net. And again, Polkadot's the only place we could do this. And so, what is the other option? Like, it was either have a centralized dystopian, or we try and do something.
Totally. I mean, the other thing, and part of my rambling at the beginning of the show about our enemies and our competition, is that their money is all coming from centralized foundations that are just pumping out money. We have to match them if we want to attract major transaction producing initiatives such as Mandala. On the ground, I was at events with ICP, with other tech stacks who are begging to be here, and they are firing millions of dollars at it. Okay? This is what we're up against. This is what we have to fight against. This is what we're all about. Sorry, yeah, Funky, 15 seconds, and we're definitely going to respect the time. Okay. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to go for a run after this show. Anybody else have something to say?
See you next week, guys.
Good job, lads. Have a nice sleep, well deserved. See you next week. Let's carry on with the show here. We're gonna keep the show up and to the right. Polkadot ecosystem branding exposure at bitcoin.com. Wait, do we have anybody on the call for this? No. Okay, well, that fell through. So maybe we'll see that next week. But just to review, 240,000 USDT to emphasize Polkadot's exposure on Bitcoin.com. We'll definitely have to deeply analyze this to see if it has the potential of increasing transactions on the network. Could do, might not. We'll have to see, but we'll get them hopefully on the show next week. That's an early nay from the chief of Chaos DAO up there, Limo. What's your impression of this one?
I don't see how it brings users. I know it's obviously cool. It's got the bitcoin.com domain. But to me, this just seems like something where they just want you to download their wallet.
What?
Yeah, it's like a really weird website. It seems like they've got their own token as well that they're trying to shill on it. I just don't see it being worth, was it $240,000? So you could say the cost does not justify the deliverables, like they're out of line.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Somebody's coming in on the other room. Shanine, you want to come into the other room? There you go. Okay, yeah, I'm going to throw it up on the screen right now. Okay, interesting. 200, how much is it there, Lee? 200 and what?
$240,000 USDT.
Okay, well, we'll see if we get them on the show next week, but thanks for that preview there. Shanine, welcome to the show. What brought you here today?
Hi, guys. How are you all?
Great. How are you?
I'm great. I was invited by James. I'm with the Levant Center, which is an innovation hub that we have here in South Florida.
Oh my gosh. Look, I don't want to,
yeah.
I don't want to, I hate to interrupt you, but we're going to get to that more later. I don't want to get too deep into it yet, but really nice to have you on the show.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, actually, I'm out of my mind because we're actually diving into it right now. The next proposal to discuss is Florida Blockchain Business Association. Oh my God, Shanine, you made it just in time. This is 50,000 USDT. Shanine, I regret cutting you off. What did you want to say about this proposal?
No, Shanine, if you don't mind, let me jump in.
Oh, look. See, you get invited, everybody cuts you off. Go ahead, James.
All right. So I've got 2 refs up for voting at the moment, and I will get to them in a moment. I've got representatives both from the FBBA and Levant on the call, obviously, and so I want to give them an opportunity to speak.
Yep.
But what I wanted to lead off with is to say that the 2 refs that I have up for voting right now are part of a larger, in my opinion, comprehensive strategy around how I am going to grow Florida. And everything that I am doing is interconnected, and I really want and I need, obviously, community support to move forward. Some of the refs are struggling at the moment, some of them aren't. It's been a roller coaster in the 4 days that they've been on OpenGov so far. They vacillate between approval and rejection every few hours. And I really want to address any remaining concerns for those 2 initiatives. But again, it's really in a context of a larger strategy. It's also just the tip of the iceberg. So everything is, from my perspective, everything is super bullish and super exciting in Miami. I really see many, many different opportunities.
Yes.
I want everyone to know that I am fairly good, in my own opinion, of time management. And so I will not allow myself to be spread too thin. I selectively choose which ideas I want to bring to the community for funding. I don't get distracted by bright and shiny, and everything I think I bring to the table is with thought and consideration. I know that there is a nay first culture in the community. I completely endorse and support that. You may have seen some of the comments that I've added both on the forums and in the various DAOs as these first 2 initiatives are making their way through it. But I want to do more. I want to do a lot more. I've got proposals that I'm ready to drop next week. There are, as an example, there are a few other organizations that I believe are critical to be part of in order to drive this larger strategy forward. Those proposals are going to be the membership costs to get in the door to begin those conversations. Now, will a membership treasury funded proposal drive transactions on the blockchain? No, no, they will not, but they will lead to conversations that will, in my opinion. I think you guys know, my background as an HA and a PBA alum. I'm also just was able to get admitted to the technical fellowship, so I'm clearly pink-pilled all the way. But everything I'm doing has a larger purpose, and I'm not the lone cowboy here. I'm not inventing this in a vacuum. I'm talking with both the network of ecosystem agents that are on the ground here, and I talk with everybody else in the community to make sure that what I'm doing is on track and in line. So with that, why don't we move on to the two refs that are up for discussion. The first one is the FBBA. I think everybody is aware of that. It's the Florida Blockchain Business Association that is attempting to replicate what we are already doing in Texas through Zach and Young Beef and the Texas Blockchain Council. I think everyone realizes that there is a North American Blockchain Summit next month in Texas. I will be going over for that to man the booth with Zach. Chrissy Hill from Parity is flying in to speak at that event. And but the FBBA proposal is struggling at the moment. So I definitely want Sam, who's the president of FBBA, and he's here, and I want him to talk. But Jay, perhaps it's maybe better to open it up to ask if there are questions or concerns that I'm not quite aware of, because I'm doing my best to address all of those concerns that I've seen so far, but I started with the 2-week proposal period. I haven't received very much feedback.
Okay, yeah, we're limited time here, so let's get right into it.
I
I mean, the biggest problem here is that the voter turnout so far is very low. So there's a lot of votes still to come in, and basically what we're seeing right now is not indicative at all of what this will be. There's less than, there's 250,000 dot votes so far. So we should have like 12 to 20x more of that within the next week or so. So we'll be able to really find out. But does anybody on the panel have any questions about this? I personally see this as possibly contributing to increased transactions on the network, but it's a longer time frame one. That's for me. But what do you guys think? Any questions before they continue? Okay, James, I think you're good to keep going.
All right. So the other one is the Levon Center. And again, as I've said before, that's a super tiny dollar amount one, and that's a membership to get us in the door at the Levon Center. But the Levon Center, and I would love for Shanine to speak here in a second, I'll yield to her, but their goal is to be the tech hub center of the Tri-County area, right? So everything from Miami to Broward County up to West Palm Beach. And it's not just a membership, I'm gonna be spending time there hosting meetups, talking to the government agencies that are on site, the universities that are on site. They run an incubator program. I want the founders of those programs to build on tech, on Polkadot Tech. We've got a cybersecurity hub. They've got all the bells and whistles. We're potentially doing an Inter-Miami event at Levon. We've just got a bunch of stuff cooking. I'm going to shut up. Okay. Shanine, why don't you talk briefly, and then we'll see if there's questions from the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to give you like a quick overview, we are a 54,000 square foot space located on Nova Southeastern University's campus. So we are a public-private partnership between Broward County as well as the university. To be honest, a lot of what we do has nothing to really do with the students itself. We serve the community at large. So being that we're more in a central location, we are able to connect with folks from Broward County, Dade County, Palm Beach County, and so on. Now, what we have going on here, a lot of people tend to be confused. They're like, okay, so what are you guys? What do you do? And so on. It's a one-stop shop. So not only do we offer like free programs to help entrepreneurs through their journey for growth and scaling, but we also are an event space. We have very cool, unique event spaces. We have a pitch room. we do have just like really unique, depending on what your event, what the nature of your event is, as well as the size of your event. Right now, we have an event going on with about 500 people here called Tech Mark. Last night, we had an event with a county that was about 200 people. So just different things. In addition, we are also a co-working space. And what that means is that we do have different tiers of membership, where if an entrepreneur or a startup or a founder wants to be able to like have that opportunity to collaborate with other entrepreneurs, be able to take advantage of our free resources and so on, they could opt in for the co-working space. With the co-working space, it comes with access to the center, resources, and so on. In addition to that, we also have corporate partners. So different tiers of membership, basically. There's a co-working space, a reserved desk, a reserved office, as well as corporate partners. So some of our corporate partners are Broward County,
Hey,
TD
Shanine?
Bank. Yeah.
Let me jump in. I know we're out of time, but Jay, do I have any time because it's two refs? Do we
Yeah.
have time for Sam to say something?
I agree with that, Funky. This is two refs, so we'll give it. We're now into the second time. Thank you very much for respecting the timer. Let's keep going here. Shanine, I'm so sorry. Please, this never happens.
You're fine.
Please continue.
You want me to continue? Or
Yes, indeed.
James?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Whoever.
Okay. No,
Mhm.
you're fine. So what it is that in addition to like the co-working space, we also have, as I said, reserved desk, where it's more of a designated area, or a reserved office, or corporate partners. So with that being said, it allows for our startups to also have that opportunity to connect with the bigger dogs in the game. For instance, we have TD Bank as a corporate partner, City Furniture, Memorial Hospital, Broward County, just a lot of different tech companies as well. We also have iConnect, which is like a physician who also has like a startup that he's running here. So it really creates like a synergy for our community at large, because we're not industry agnostic, but more so in the sense where we're catering to like different industries: healthcare, fintech, wedtech, edtech, and so on. So I think it'll be a great opportunity for James to have a membership here, because I know he's really trying to grow his community. So that will be a great opportunity to bring something like that to Broward County. I know he's used to having that in Miami, but bringing that to Broward County and also reaching a different audience and also tapping into our community will be a great opportunity for him to actually accomplish what it is that he's looking to accomplish for Polkadot.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So why don't we turn it over to Sam with FBBA?
Welcome back, Sam.
Yeah, James, you just want me to give my background real quick, or what we've been up to, or how can I be most useful?
I think any update from what you said last time, maybe anybody who hasn't heard. So yeah, brief overview, and then see if there's other questions.
Yeah, so real quick background, founded FBBA in 2017, one of the first state-focused associations pushing Web3 blockchain policy. I work on the national level as well with all the federal agencies, and I'm even on the board of an agency that oversees other state agencies. It's actually November's coming up, and in Florida, right after the election, our legislative session starts, which is when we actually start pushing and passing legislation. So that'll be end of November, December, January, February. And so we already have about 5 different bills that we have on the docket that are all either promoting Web3 and its adoption, or setting up institutional frameworks to ensure, like, for example, we want to establish friendly banks here for the Web3 industry and not let Operation Choke Point 2.0 happen here in Florida. So like small things like that to ensure that the industry can grow and businesses can grow. So I'm not going to get into all 5 of the bills, but that's a very general, broad overview of what we're up to.
Back to you, Jay.
Awesome, guys. Thanks very much. Obviously, an important part of the world that we are pouring more and more of ourselves into with in the Miami region. We're actually going to be, the Coos is going to be back in Miami, not this weekend, but next weekend, to catch the first playoff game for Inter Miami, and also to watch our next guest rip around a racetrack. That's Connor Daly. Connor, welcome to the show. Nice to have you back. Thanks for waiting there.
No problem. Yeah, good to be back. Good to see everyone. Feels like it's been a little bit since I've been on, but yeah, next week's gonna be sweet. We're gonna be doing some stuff with Inter Miami, obviously, before the day before we race, which is actually like kind of a cool little cross promotion there. But that'll be sweet. And yeah, it's our last race, major race of this deal. So it's going to be sweet. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think we're going to have a lot of people down there. Obviously, Jay, you're going to be down there. So that's great. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we are working every day to continue to try to figure out, how we continue to be beneficial to this community, how we continue to grow. We're speaking a lot with Paul from VBrick Systems, who we obviously had on the show a couple weeks ago, on their continued development on what they're able to work with Polkadot on. So that's still the most exciting thing. But yeah, we obviously want to continue to kind of creatively put together, a ref in the future for what next year looks like. I'm obviously in a super important time of year. This is like we're getting into the off season now, so we're trying to figure out what the future looks like.
Yeah.
And I think there's some really cool stuff that we have an opportunity to be a part of. And I think Andrew as well, who isn't on here at the moment, he was a little bit busy, but Andrew and Chris have obviously been working on some stuff that I think have really taken our future ref to another level. So very, very excited about that.
Super.
And it's been a fun year for sure. So just trying to cap it off in a really strong and positive way down in Miami, and then we'll go from there.
That's so awesome. And it's nice to know that Paul's going to be there, or it seems like he's going to be there. That's what you're saying.
I believe he will be. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to try my best to get him on the show and to better understand just how up and to the right VBrick is going to make transactions on Polkadot, because that is, from what we understand so far, this could be absolutely colossal. And this is, yeah. But I just want to understand how far up and to the right we're going to go. Like, is it going to, we just have to understand. So I'm gonna get him on the show. Yeah, go ahead, Con.
Well, after your speech at the beginning of this, I feel like we need to be shooting for the moon. So I definitely think it's the right way to be going, and it's the right way to, that's what we wanted to do at the beginning of this whole thing. Again, bring all of those things that you were mentioning, and hopefully this is a piece that is helpful to to everyone.
No, it's a life or death situation. We have to go up and to the right, otherwise our competition is going to be crushed. I've already lost all my friends. My family doesn't talk to me anymore. I have nothing else except Polkadot, and it's very important that we make it happen. But it's so cool that this partnership not only spread the word of Polkadot, not only planted it in the minds of people who may be interested in crypto in the next few months for some reason, but also brought on this partnership, at least, or it appears to have, and that's just totally unexpected. So thank you.
We obviously care for you, Jay. So we want to make sure that you're in a very happy spot in the future, and everyone is as well. So
thank you.
Fun.
Thank you. Okay, well, looking forward to seeing you next week.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you guys, and we appreciate it as always. So happy to interact anytime.
Super stuff. Okay, so we're gonna wrap it up with our last proposal today to discuss proper with the 8-minute clock. We caught Poke Mario on the show. He is still a head ambassador technically. You just can't get rid of these guys. They're just gonna stick around, and here they are. So still a head ambassador, but you came out with this this small tipper to get attention on your PP2P program, which is, you're going to explain now. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Wait, I'm going to first do it like this. This is a little bit better. So I have 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
It's just to see
We'll put you in the other room. You can go off. No, go ahead.
No, this is just... you know that I resigned as a head ambassador, and you're right, technically I'm still a head ambassador because you cannot really resign yet. That was last Wednesday, and suddenly,
right.
All right, yeah, and suddenly a couple of people, they reached out to me, and what I did was on a Sunday, I was sitting at my computer and I wrote something, and that is actually this. People just ask me about, what's the vision about the head ambassador program? You're out now. This is what I thought was a good idea, because honestly, if you look at the current head ambassador program, it's actually started with the right intention. We need to say that. The issue was money, and another issue was that we had to build the structure ourselves. We were quite close, and then, in my opinion, blowing up the entire chisel is not the best thing, I think. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to present something. I thought, let's go for the small tipper thing. Sean was a really good example. He also had which I really respect, a good vision. He asked for a tip, and I did actually the same thing, just to see what the commitment is and to encourage actually the discussions about this PP2P program. I like it actually already. So the idea is to start a discussion, and the idea is to build a kind of scalable from the bottom up structure. The idea was also, how can we create a strong community, a positive community, where everyone is actually proud to be part of Polkadot, and how do we ensure that contributions are rewarded fairly? And from this on, I envisioned a structure, a couple of steps: collectives, fellowships, work groups, and initiatives. So the collective, the big one, they set up framework. So that's the mission, the vision. They define strategic goals, and for instance, they decide, hey, let's do the 1,000 meetups per month. I think we really need this. Why? Because today, we have a marketing budget, but if I'm really honest, we don't know who our target audience is or what the message needs to be. Is it the developer that we want to reach? We need him to build on our platform. Do we want to reach token holders so that they can buy DOT? And I think that's the job of the collective, to do this for the entire ecosystem. And then I had the idea about 7 fellowships. So these are managed by experts chosen by the community, totally on chain. It's a self-managing group, and we have their global fellowship leader. So I ditched the word ambassadors, and what they need to do is they are kind of coordinator. They bring the right people together. They don't need to know everything, and there are no prerequisites. So you don't need to work for Polkadot for 3 years, whatever, that's not needed. If Bill Gates comes along and they want to invest 100 million and he said, I want to be the leader of the investor relationships, he could create a referendum, and there's a possibility that he gets elected. The only condition that I've put forward was transparency. That can be a difficult one. Transparency about DAO affiliations. So what I think is we need to avoid a situation where all fellowships are controlled by the same DAO. That would be, I think, the biggest mistake if we do that. And then each fellowship can create work groups, but it can also be the community. So the community can start a work group under a fellowship. So if you believe you can contribute and you create a team, go for it. And work groups can operate, and that's what I like, across different regions. For instance, if you specialize in business development, you could become a regional lead in Asia, for instance. And if we focus more on those local initiatives, that will be great, because then we really can scale globally, because we can learn all from each other. And for business development, a title is also, I'm the regional business lead in Asia. That's quite important. And then the last thing, initiatives, that's the lowest one. Temporary projects, clear end date. You want to run a campaign, for instance, to attract more developers. You want to organize an investment dinner, all those small things. Now, how do we fund this? I had the idea about sub-treasuries. I know that we all talked about it already long ago, I think. So the idea was, let's go for the sub-treasuries, each fellowship sub-treasury, and they can distribute this money to the different working groups. And I also feel that everyone that actively participates in those working groups, they get a reward. It could be swag, extra t-shirts, whatever. It could also be DOT. And for me, also a discussion point, I know compensation is based on the Big Mac index. What I mean with that is, you see the picture. There is a difference in every region about payments. And if we use, let's say that we say we paid 10 dot and we multiply that with the Big Mac index, then I never need to adjust the structure anymore. The amount stays there, 10 dot, but when the index goes up, also the reward goes up. So I think it's a little bit more safer for in the future. Now, it's 1 dot tip. Now, this morning, something odd happened. It went from a clear yes to a significant no. And yeah, I have some questions about that. So why would a large organization block a 1 dot tip? That is strange. And there's only one thing that I want to say about that. This is exactly why business people and startups tell me it's challenging to grow within Polkadot. I was in Crypto Valley. Investors told me more or less the same thing. If even the smallest initiatives, like a 1 dot tip, we're talking about $4, face such resistance. So we definitely need to talk about that, but not now. I'm here to talk about the Polka Power to People program and not about anything else. So what I want to say is I would encourage everyone to read what is in there. It's an idea, right? It's not something there. It's an idea meant to engage the community, and I'll leave it in your hands. Whether I walk away with a whopping $4 or this could be an alternative program for Project Phoenix. Phoenix is all fine. The choice is yours. This was just to spark the right kind of discussion. That was it.
Okay. Wow. Lots to unpack there. Mario, I think maybe the 1 dot thing is not really what you're exactly. I think it's just the wrong track to bring this up. This is like a forum post, not a ref, right?
It's how you look at it. This was just a small tip, right? But we all know what we're talking about.
Were you legitimately trying to get a 1 dot tip for your work, or was this just to get attention?
I couldn't say that it was 0 dot, so I needed to fill in something.
Right. So you're using a funding track to get attention for an idea. I'm just saying. All right. Let's.
I know what you're saying, Jay. I know what you're saying.
That's why people are saying it. Okay. So what do we think about this? We're at time, but we're going to spend some time talking about the Head Ambassador program now. It's really nice to see people thinking big like this, for sure. Because eventually, at some point, the DAO is going to be organized into something like this, for sure. We're already seeing these structures popping up, right? Like WAG Media is one of these structures, and they have a specific mandate. The Events Bounty is one of these structures. That seems to be getting on the right track.
Yeah.
Right, we have these examples of kind of like future collectives. They start as bounties and they grow up. So something like this could happen. I want to throw it open to the group, though. What do we kind of think about this idea?
Silence.
Silence. I'll tell you, Mario, that like I respect you a lot as a person, but my political leanings, my philosophical leanings are probably on a different part of the spectrum than yours. My personal belief is that structure and automation is a threat to the DAO at this early stage, but it has a place in the future. But my personal feeling is that building structures right now actually introduces fragility into the system. But that's just where I am on that spectrum.
Yeah, I hear you there. And when I was thinking about this on the Sunday, I was thinking the same thing. But I truly believe that I only have that governance collective on the top.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you ask BD people now what they need to do, they just think, I need to sell something. But what is the bigger picture? That is something that actually a lot of people are missing. And if we just have a framework that collective could set up, that would actually help a lot, because otherwise people are just running around and they're not dictating what you need to do, but they just can say, Let's go for 10% more developers. And then it's up to all the rest to make that happen.
I got a good one. This is the new vogue, okay?
Yeah.
2x transactions on rollups accumulative on the network every month.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. Let's hear from the first ever person to successfully leave the head ambassador program, Don Diego Sanchez. Welcome.
Hi all, thanks Jay, and yes, I'm the first ever non-bot of having been kicked off the program. I'm quite proud of that.
Yeah.
First, I'd like to react to the fact that even if Mario didn't use the right track, I think that what's happening is OpenGov being OpenGov and letting anyone that believe has a good idea suggesting it to the community. So I think it's a good thing, and maybe you should have gone to a WFC or something like that, because we should fight against voters fatigue and this kind of these kind of things that are hurting the turnout. But anyway, to give you some update about the Phoenix program, because we're calling it like that, we're still finishing a first version of the draft. You will see that it is like the complete opposite of what Mario is suggesting. The idea is basically to create a framework that will be able to adapt to the needs of Polkadot for decades to come. And for that reason, we believe that we must fight, like you say, the predeterminism, hierarchy, bureaucracy, and centralism, and try to find a solution that will be able to empower agents and community in order to help them and nurture in them the envy to solve non-technical issues of the Polkadot network. So for that, we are currently finishing a V1 of a new manifesto that will propose to create the Ambassador Fellowship. It's mainly based on the Technical Fellowship Manifesto, and it's basically just adapted from it to be suited to the challenge that the Ambassadorship Manifesto will have to face. So basically, the Technoship Manifesto and the Fellowship is favorizing the quality over the quantity. And that's dynamics that should not be implemented in the ambassadorship, in the ambassador fellowship. Like we need thousands of ambassadors. We need hundreds of community representing Polkadot, and all at their own level and on their own place of the world, acting as problem solvers of the Polkadot network. So for that, we need, and that's our belief, and it's based on the gathering of all the inputs of many people in the community. We believe that you need a ranking system that will allow those people to access legitimacy and acknowledgement of their added value and their mission or their mandate to represent Polkadot. So we are working on a reputation system, actually, to make them, those agents, those point of contact, discoverable for the inside and the outside of the community. We believe it's the main issue that the Polkadot is facing. There is a lot of great agents in the ecosystem, but they're not easily findable. So that's one part, a reputation system. And on the other part, a funding system, which basic principle will be to the most easily, in the most easily way, provide fundings and resource to people on the field actively trying to solve solution. And it's not easy to do, like we can do that in an afternoon, but we are really close to find a really elegant and resilient solution, or at least the first proposition of that to the community. So we're quite proud. It has taken a bit more time than expected. Last week we said give us a week. It's close to be shareable, and we demand the community to wait a little bit more for that. And then everyone will be able to debate and exchange ideas about that. But that's what is being prepared by the Phoenix project.
Super, super. My favorite thing about all this idea so far is having a place to develop a sense of belonging to people. This is so important in this cycle for people to feel like they belong, that they're part of something bigger than maybe their own miserable lives or even good lives. We just want something where people can join. Just quick side note, reputation systems. please make sure it can decay. We want people to be able to be knocked down as easily as they climb up. Okay, Lucy. It's my personal battle. Go ahead, Lucy. Welcome. We're so lucky to have you on the show every week now.
Oh, I'm so lucky to be here. I too have a sad life. No, so yeah, I just wanted to
welcome to the club.
Just follow up on what John Diego said and also answer Mario's question. So there's been a slight change on the timeline because everything we're doing every day is being updated with different conversations we're having with different people. We had a great chat today with Michael from Mandala, and we went through various other programs that other chains have. And we're looking at things that we can take and put in this one, but it's very difficult because what we're doing is completely decentralized, and so we're trying to build the largest, most vibrant, resilient, on-chain, decentralized community ever in the world. So we're trying, and without any money or incentives currently built into it. So it's challenging, but we are getting there. We've taken a lot from the Fellowship Manifesto. We've taken a lot from Sean. We've taken things from Tommy A. We've taken things we've learned from the previous ambassador program as well, 1.0. So it's a lot of iterations. And the manifesto was available for everybody to see as we went along this. We then found it was very difficult. I mean, Gav went off to the woods for like 6 months and wrote his manifesto on his own. And it's very hard to write one. So at the moment, it's me, Don Diego, and Lorena in it like solidly every day. And then tomorrow we have another X space. So please join, send questions, put questions on the forum. And we will have something to share on Monday with everyone on the forum that will be a version 1. So won't be perfect, but we want everybody to have input because everybody can ultimately be an ambassador in this program and will be encouraged to be an ambassador in this program and to be part of a community. But yeah, thanks for bearing with us. But we think we're on something good that represents everybody here. So
We're here for it.
Yeah. And just a small addition, sorry for that, but what took us some time is also taking a look at what other ecosystems were doing to basically gather the best ideas. And it was really nurturing. So yeah, basically we're confident that what we are doing will add a lot of value to the ecosystem.
You know, I'll just add, because you mentioned how Gav went away just to make the manifesto for the technical fellowship, but even then, and no shade here, but even that is slow to really pick up and really get going. Like a collective is a big thing, everybody. It's a big thing, you know. It's on chain. There's all kinds of rules and stuff. Collectives are big. You guys are trying to tackle it. It's amazing. Nikos.
Thank you, Jay. Just want to add on Don Diego's, like, thank you for doing that. This is something I've been saying day one when the whole head ambassador drama went out. Put down a manifesto, put down everything like on paper, make sure that everybody believes in it, votes in it, and go for it. I have one question on that. And again, thank you all of you, not just you, Don Diego. Don't take the whole thunder out of Lucy and the rest. I have a question. Is this new program, manifesto and everything, is going to include head ambassadors only, or it's going to include like thousands and thousands of people that will start from a 0 ranking, climb up and down the ladder and reach up to the stars?
The second option. The idea is to create the biggest and the strongest community out there, and especially fight the hierarchy. So we want to let anyone be able to suggest any kind of solution that he believes is needed for the Polkadot ecosystem, and we want the basically the technical fellowship to create the easiest funding mechanism for that, because we think that OPGov requires token holders to improve it, and that the way it currently functioning may be the best suited way to support this kind of initiative. And we can see that with the tip culture. We want to tip people, but it's very complicated. It's not working, and it's taking a mental availability from voters. So we believe that the fragment system will also greatly help this kind of ecosystem agent. The one that the community want to support, and let's say give a 5K allowance per month for the shit they are doing for the ecosystem, and not forcing the OpenGov to say yes every month and to have to validate 60K per year, you know. So we believe it will increase the number of tools in the end of the community to address the future issues and needs of the Polkadot ecosystem. And that's one of the main points we're trying to achieve, is to do something that will fit the Polkadot network for decades, you know. So
yeah. Just one last thing, because I don't have much time. I have like a minute before I have to drop out. First of all, don't try to go to version 1. Throw out a version 0.4, 0.5, and 0.1 should be the voted version. That's the first thing. And second of all, being in technical fellowship for some time and have read the manifesto, have been around all the discussions about the tooling collective and everything. I just want to say that if you need any help, if you want another pair of eyes to have a look before you go public, or even after if you go public, reach out, and I'm glad to help if you need anything.
Thank you very much. And I will just conclude by saying that the merit of the root ref 487 or 67, but the former ambassador program is to have gathered really devoted ecosystem agents all together in the same room, and they basically forced us to find a solution. And I think, again, that's how OpenGov should work. And I want to thank Giotto for doing that, because in a way it acted like, you know, the spirit of Kusama. It was the chaos maybe needed for us to react and build something that will, like I said, last for decades. I hope so.
All right. Lucerino. Muted there.
Yeah, Nikos, I was just going to say the other thing before you go as well is just to make clear with the uncoupling of salary and rank, because those are the two things that seem most important, or are most important, one externally, one for survival. But anyone at any rank will have access to funds. So it won't be head ambassador. No rank has a salary. So and nobody.
No, that's not correct. I really need to drop, and we can discuss it off. But for me, each rank should have a salary. It could be whatever you guys decide, meaning that starting from 0, it could be tipping, rank 1, rank 2, tipping, and then after, while the rank is going up, the salary should increase, and there should be a top of salary, like let's say, I don't know, 1,000 euros on rank 5, and after rank 5, everybody will top to 1,000 euros. That means that the salary is not an incentive. It's not the main reason why somebody jumps in, but it should be there because there should be some rewarding for what people do. And I really have to drop. I am so sorry about that. I will see your answer in the video that Jay will release.
Yeah.
Just come tomorrow at the
come to the Twitter space tomorrow.
We'll do so.
And we'll take the time to go deeper into that. Thank you.
Yeah. And so just for everybody else here to clear that up. So there is a funding mechanism, but we are very aware that money has caused a lot of these issues and started, and for something that is going, because the whole point about this is it needs to be resilient. So in 10 years time, when, well, hopefully we'll be here, we're not that old, if we're still here, but even if we're not, it still works. And the needs of Polkadot, it works with the needs of Polkadot. Or if this program implodes and a different program pops up that's better, they have access to the same funding. So the funding will be in combination, but separate programs. That's what we're working on here, is a resilient program.
But would how does somebody who climbs to the top of the ranks get funding?
So
that's the idea is to really decouple that. And the ranking mechanism is just to provide you with legitimacy and acknowledgement. And anyone in the community can, through this fragment system, access to a monthly funding for a specified task that will be supported for as long as the community will be in favor of it. So it will open the doors to anyone to access funding to do whatever they feel is needed for the community. So it can be a head ambassador proposing to get funded for, you know, working full-time for the community, but it can also be a community asking to get funded to support their initiative and I don't know, in their domestic area, you know, and it can be basically anything. It can be a way to rewards and to pay bounty members, for example. Like a bounty member should require a monthly payment. So the fragment system is basically a way to provide monthly allowance to people for various initiatives. And combined with the ranking system, we believe it will create a really strong ambassador fellowship that will be open to anyone and that will allow anyone to get involved. And for example, I can be a really great ambassador for Polkadot, but maybe I don't want to be paid for that. So, but I would like to be recognized for what I did. So that's why the ranking system, it's important to decouple it from the funding system. Because if you linked the both, you will put a limit on the number of the people that could be ambassador for Polkadot. You know, so that's why we believe it's important to decouple them, but to create a new way to easily access to the same kind of fundings. And it's better if this new funding tools is open to anyone.
That's the important thing. It allows the program to expand and retract dependent on Polkadot's needs. So I believe in the last bull run, there were 5,000 ambassadors. If there were 5,000, like you would have to cut ambassadors if you were paying everyone. You'd have to fire and make ambassadors redundant, for example. But yeah, so there's lots of complexities here. We're trying to focus on the manifesto and get that everybody on board, because don't get me wrong, working for free is not what people should be doing, and it's not great. But if we have something really good and we have a really good funding mechanism that works beautifully alongside it, then Max wants to say something because I know he feels strongly in this area.
Maximus.
Yeah, well, what I would say is I'm really pretty torn about this myself, right? Like I'm not saying, you know, I spend a lot of time now here debating this and being involved in the program. You know, I mean, in general, like it sounds, in a way, it sounds good to decouple, right? That's kind of, I think that's our main discussion point at the moment, right? Like whether or not the ranks and the funding should be decoupled or not, right? And you can really make the case for both sides here, I have to say, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the one hand, you can say like, okay, this is just the ranking, and then, you know, there's the funding, but but at the moment, like sort of the current plan seems to be, you know, a complete sort of disconnect, right? And in theory, it's very conceivable that somebody climbs through hard work and through putting in all the effort, you know, climbs from junior ambassador to senior ambassador to head ambassador, and then, or whatever, yeah, senior head ambassador, and then still doesn't get funded. That's like a very, very conceivable outcome, because in this fragment system, you know, like one whale can, you know, still decide, and like the voters and, you know, some whales can still decide that, okay, even though this guy is a head ambassador or whatever, and he clearly did all the proof of work, I still don't like him, and therefore I'm going to vote against him. And since this, I would assume, is going to happen quite frequently, right? We're in a bit of a tricky situation, also a bit of a chicken and egg problem, because, you know, like if you want to get like 5,000 ambassadors, like I think a lot of candidate ambassadors are just going to ask themselves, like, why should I bother? Like, why should I go through like all the hassle of, you know, meeting all the deliverables, climbing through the ranks, if at the end of the day, it's still anything but certain that I get funded. Mm-hmm. I could just do the other way and, you know, forget about this whole ambassadorship and go straight to the fragment voting with like some other idea that isn't called ambassador, but that is called something else, and still get like funded for that initiative. So I feel it might, you know, create a lot of bureaucracy and then, you know, dissuade a lot of people from actually trying to apply.
Yeah, all really good points. I have like a dozen trade-off equations going off in my head, but I don't have enough information yet. Let's hear what Hope has to say.
Hey guys, thank you. I love a lot of what I'm hearing. I want to bring up a few points, and one of the things is community is, I think, the number one thing needed, and I don't mean just in crypto, but crypto is included. On my way home from Decoded, I had met a female who has a very large following and who asked if there was incentive program, and she is agnostic, like my profile is on X, about blockchain in general. And she, would need support in order to get messaging out. Nothing crazy, all of that. We don't have mechanisms for that. But then there's also the outside. And I'm kind of rambling here, so I'm sorry. Let me dial it back. One of the things that I think I really want to express here is that the community factor to this and getting the right message for the right ambassadors that attract that type of following, whether it's in or out of crypto, is what I'm looking to see. Like, the ecosystem is rich in talent, and each of the individuals with that talent need a way to express that talent to bring people in and create community. So I hope that message is getting across a little bit.
What resonates with me there, Hope, is one of the problems that I'm seeing in the ecosystem is that, the great scarce resource is talent, and because OpenGov has kind of jagged edges, sometimes we drive talent away, and to have a program that receives talent could be very useful.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you smoothing out what I said, Jay.
Well, that's just what resonated with me.
Just a small
Yeah,
comment,
go ahead.
Jay. That's one of the point driving the construction of the new fellowship. The fact that OpenGov is pretty frightening for people, and that's a really, really tiring process, and it's tough. It's basically tough to be there. So that's also one of the idea behind the fragment system, is that it will be way softer, and that you will basically be able to anticipate whether you will have the funding next month or not, and it will be, way smoother and way more suited, we believe, to smaller initiative, like between the 10K to 100K per year. It's difficult to go to OpenGov for that. It's taking a lot of time, basically a full month of investment and involvement, to basically know if you will get, I don't know, like 8K per month. So,
the other thing I would want to be careful of in all this, besides making sure the reputation system has decay, is that we don't accidentally try to create this middleware for all of OpenGov. Like, the scope of this program needs to be defined and refined to something very specific. Maybe it's onboarding people with this easier, just like WAG Media was basically an easier way for content creators to onboard into funding in the ecosystem. That was its whole point. So we just need to make sure this scope is defined, so it doesn't become like, oh, you're throwing an event, you must go to the ambassador program, because that's what introduces fragility into the system. We need to keep this culture of OpenGov and not close everything down. With good intentions.
Exactly what we are trying to do.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we haven't spoken too much about the financing side, just because the manifesto, we will do all of them at the same time. There'll be manifesto alongside a management program as well, which will be a paid program. We have to figure out how the community decides who's behind that, because you're going to need 6 months of people hand-holding at least before you can get going, because it will also take 3 months for the fellowship to build the fragment voting system. So we will have we'll be asking for a sub-treasury in the meantime. So there is a lot of thought and work around that, and we can share some stuff next week as well. But we just didn't want to cloud people's minds with just money, because then we forget what we're here for. There is plenty of money in the pot, and I think I've been shown over the last few months that even though I haven't got paid yet, people are calling for me to be. So I've shown that hard work does get recognized, and I appreciate that.
Look,
so don't name me when I put it in though. I haven't tried yet. I'll be on here begging for my supper.
At the end of the day, it is all about incentive. And one of the most painful things we see is somebody doesn't monetize their work in the ecosystem, and then they become bitter. They sometimes even turn against the ecosystem. Incentive is everything. If you don't have incentive, like, look, I couldn't have built the Kusamarian if I wasn't being paid well enough to dedicate all my time to it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to pay people to make sacrifices in other areas of their life to focus on pushing dot forward. There's nothing shameful about incentive. That's just my 2 cents.
Agreed.
Guys, thank you for this conversation. Thanks for keeping it under an hour today. Let's move on to a few refs on the go that we're going to be looking at coming up. We have, this is an interesting one. They're going to be coming on the show next week. The Jamton project, a bridge between Polkadot and the Ton ecosystem by the folks at Curio DAO. Now, I met these guys about a year and a half ago, and I was pretty energized by what they were bringing to the table. Here they've done a little pivot from their RWA, and they want to build this bridge. Bit of an unfortunate title here, saying they're going to be bringing or bridging, now they've changed it to 950 million people over. This has set off some alarm bells in the ecosystem because it does seem, well, completely BS. But maybe there are 950 million users over there that might be interested in coming over, and maybe it's worth building this bridge for $250,000. We'll have to see when they come on the show. We also have Artemis Analytics looking to integrate DOT data. They're going to be on the show next week. They've had a little trouble posting this ref because they were using PokaSafe as a multi-sig wallet. I've encouraged them to move over to the Talisman multi-sig product, which is superior in every way. And hopefully they're able to get this ref posted and be on the show next week to discuss this proposal for 200,000 USD. Motoverse, which we had on the show last week, hasn't been able to gather any support since that showing. And hopefully we have some lessons learned there. The wish for change for unifying the Polkadot ecosystem address format. This was just posted by one of the Yakubs from Hydration and is receiving early success with 99.4% in favor of ironing out that terrible UX mistake somebody made along the line. I think it was for security, but I don't think the trade-off was worth it in the end. EZA is struggling right now, just under 30% in favor. We had them on the show a few weeks ago. We'll have to see if they can turn it around and respond to some calls about the quality and depth of the educational material they put forward on the app. Marketing Bounty 2.0, thanks to some guy named Giotto, is now 85.8% in favor. And I'm very happy with the curator set here. I'm hopeful with the potential of this bounty in this new form. Of course, it's a bounty, so we can always cancel it and take the money back. But that's the state of the Marketing Bounty 2.0. And the entering proposals that are confirming right now, the Ledger giveaway that E.T. Evan brought onto the show. This is now confirming with 81% in favor. And the other confirming ref is from Nikos, who we had on the show, and he just left. This was his idea to make the Polkadot.com website code open sourced, which will allow people to contribute to the content. There were some questions about how easy or practical this would be, but I guess 99.8% of voters are in favor, or 99.8% of DOT is in favor of putting this through, and that is almost done the confirmation period. And I think that's the show. Guys, thanks everybody for joining episode 175 of Attempts at Governance. Remember, we're going to get these transactions up and to the right every month. Okay, we got to hit 100 million transactions in the roll-ups around Polkadot. If not October, it's got to be November. We're at the end of the show here, so I can say there are rumors percolating in KuSDAO that one of our major sources of transactions may be leaving the network. We got to be careful. We got to be careful we don't lose the transactions we have, and we got to work hard to bring in more projects that are going to pump these transactions, because the entire DOT economy relies on it, and I want to crush the competition. I want them to cry, and I want them to regret not being part of Polkadot this whole time. Otherwise, that will all be on me. Guys, thanks for coming on the show. We'll see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.